Rev it up and welcome to Cars Yeah, show number 1894. Today, we're going to take a very nostalgic and heartwarming walk back through the histories of motor car racing with Sam and John Posey. That name Posey, Sam Posey, will ring a bell to all you diehard racing fans. So buckle up. We're in for a fun ride.
This is Cars Yeah, where you'll enjoy interviews with inspiring automotive enthusiasts. Mark Green is here to provide you with a fuel injection of automotive inspiration. So get in, sit down, buckle up, and get ready for a wild ride here on Cars Yeah.
Hello, inspiring automotive enthusiasts, and welcome to Cars Yeah. Today I'm in Sharon, Connecticut with two incredibly special guests, John and Sam Posey. John, Sam, welcome to Cars Yeah. Do you guys have it in gear, and are you ready to release the clutch?
I think we are ready.
Yeah.
Ready.
You know, it's a silly question to ask somebody like Sam, right, John?
I think he was born in gear.
Yeah, I think he was for sure. Now, I'm going to give you guys a proper introduction, and we're going to be talking about Sam's newest book. Sam seems to never slow down. He just keeps creating things and doing things. But before I do, John, let's start with you. What's one little thing that most people don't know about you?
Good question. That's a good question. God, I'm blank here. You'll have to. Could you come back to me on that one?
Oh no, I never come back. I'm going to keep you in the hot seat. Maybe just one little fun thing that it doesn't have to be anything major. We don't want to give up any secrets here.
Okay, I'm the owner of a very valuable car. It's a 1989 Saab 900.
Oh, the Saab story.
The Saab story with an aero package. I think the car is probably worth about $5,000 by now.
A real collector's item.
Yeah.
Well, Sam, you know, everybody knows so much about you, Sam, but could there be one little thing that maybe we don't know about the great Sam Posey?
Well, I think that the real story there is surfaced in the last few weeks. It was just my painting. The painting doesn't get
the painting. So you're an artist as well. Is that right?
Yeah, very much so.
Wow. Well, there we go. That's why I like to ask that question. I see some artwork in the background. We're on Skype today, so I see some beautiful pieces of work there. John, you're lucky because I grew up with a father who was also an artist and taught me to appreciate art. So do you think, John, maybe you'll take a paintbrush and turn that Saab into a BMW art car like the one your dad drove for Calder, that was Calder painting?
I think it could use some kind of touching up, you know. Maybe I'll cover the rust with some.
Okay. Well, I gave you some inspiration there, and I'm sure your dad gives you inspiration every day. Allow me to introduce you, and we're going to dive into this new book. So bear with me here. Sam Posey's racing endeavors spanned 17 seasons, 1965 to 1981, and included a famous victory in 1975 with BMW in the 12 Hours of Sebring. His second career as a TV commentator began in 1974 at the Indy 500 and lasted over 40 years. Boy, I remember your voice so many times, Sam. Embracing spells with ABC, Speed Vision, and NBC. He's written 3 previous books, which we're going to talk about. And of course, the newest one, which is very, very cool, Sam's Scrapbook. The front straight at Lime Park, his local race circuit in Connecticut, was named after him. And in 2016, he was introduced into the Motorsports Hall of Fame of America. We're going to have some fun talking today, but first a word from our valued sponsor. So you gentlemen sit tight. We'll be right back. We're going to be talking about Sam's Scrapbook and a little bit of history, so sit tight. One of your vehicle's interior surfaces that gets a lot of abuse is your dashboard. The sun beats down and those damaging UV rays cause massive heat cycles, resulting in color changes and sometimes cracks. My friends at Covercraft have a great solution for you and for me. Their custom-tailored dash mats protect your dash from heat buildup while providing a stylish solution. You can choose from a variety of styles and colors, including carpet, suede mat, that's the one I have for my vehicles, Carhartt, limited edition velour mats, and the Ultimat for trucks and SUVs. Another great benefit of your Covercraft dash mat is that it eliminates the harsh glare the sun produces from your dash to the inside of your windshield, which can make driving a hazard. Covercraft's Dash Mat Design Center is located in Arizona, where they know about harsh sun. I've got a special deal for you. If you use the code YEAH21, YEAH21 at covercraft.com, you'll get 10% off your Covercraft order. That's right, 10% off. Just use the code YEAH21 at checkout. Covercraft, protecting the things that move you. When it was time to renew my collector car policy, my carrier raised my rates by a lot. But why? My usage was the same, my car's value was the same, and I had never made a claim. I didn't even have a ticket. The only change was their rate, and they had no reason why. What's with that? I researched my options, I spoke to others, and with American Collectors Insurance is where I now have my policy. What a difference. A live person actually answers the phone. She spent time learning about me and my Porsche Turbo, the one I call my Orange Crush, and provided a reasonable quote. American Collectors Insurance now protects my special ride. I'm saving hundreds of dollars, and I can sleep at night knowing my baby is properly insured. Why wait until your next premium is due? Give them a call today for your personal agreed value quote. Call 866-AC1-YEAH. That's 866-224-9324. Tell them you're a friend of mine, Mark Green at Cars Yeah. American Collectors Insurance, classic car insurance designed by collectors for collectors, automotive enthusiasts just like you and me. That's American Collectors Insurance. All right, John, Sam, so let's go a little deeper into the corner. This is something that your dad was very good at doing. I'd love to talk a little bit and a lot about Sam's Scrapbook, the Motorsports Memories. It's published by our friends at Evro. They brought me many great guests here on Cars Yeah. But what's really cool about this is, Sam, you decided to have John step in and kind of help you put this book together. So I don't even know how we begin to talk about something that is so extreme and long as your history, but why did you want to do this book? What does it mean for you?
All right, here was what happened step by step. I like to bullshit, and I was sitting somewhere in Florida in our house and telling stories of my racing career. And John and I suddenly said, there's a book here. I'd be ashamed to miss the opportunity. So that's how it started out. And then once we were doing it, John would ask me to tell a story, and I would do it. And he had a unique ability, which is as he hears the story being told, he writes it and edits it as he writes it. So the aces just came out. This over here and that over there, Mario over here, and it was all because of the ability that John had, this special ability. And he took over and did all the writing for the book. And they're my stories, but they're told the way only he can tell.
There wasn't much to do because he pretty much talks in prose, so it's it makes it very easy for the guy transcribing him. But yeah, we, like he was saying, when we were in Florida, we had some old scrapbooks down there, and as we were cleaning out his studio, I'd found some, and you just open them up and see this incredible shot, and you just go, "What's happening here?" It's like they used to have a segment in the New York Times. It was like, I think it was called like What They Were Thinking.
Oh yes.
Do you remember that?
Yeah.
They still have it, but it would be like a photo and then a little caption, and somebody would interview the people in the photo, and sometimes it would just be kids like running through a sprinkler or something, and it'd be like, we've been asking my dad all day to set it up, and finally whatever. But we thought that format could be kind of cool. You'd see the photo and it would kind of make you wonder what was going on, and then you'd have a little text to sort of.
One of the things we as adults, we had a whole life before our children came along. And when children come along, and John, how old are you today, John?
39.
39, and you look more like 29 to me. So you're very like your father. Your father always looked young to me throughout his life. Were there some things that perhaps you learned about your dad along the way from his days before you were born that you kind of went, well, how come I didn't know that?
Oh, a ton of them. Thanks for asking that. I feel like that was part of the fun of the book. It was just like I mean, obviously most of it's about racing, but the racing stories lead into just what life was like, and it's just, it was just, sorry, go ahead. No, it was just fun I mean, the pictures sort of suggested them, and I'd be looking through these old albums and stuff and just go, God, what was it like to be standing on the grid at Le Mans before this started? I mean, if it were me, I'd just be freaking out but also the thrill of it, and just, it was great to be able to ask, not just what's happening here, but what was it like? What did it feel like,
Right.
in these events that you've heard about before, but you've never really gotten to the bottom of?
I would assume, since this is your father, you could get a little bit more intimate with his feelings about specific events than maybe another writer would, or an interviewer like myself. For you, Sam, I always like to ask my guests about people who are inspirational. No doubt you're a huge inspiration to so many people. You were to me. Of course, you are to your son. When you look back at all the incredible people in your life, and I know one of them that was a great early inspiration for you, a mentor, was John Fitch. When you were driving at Lime Rock, you were the youngest American at the time to be at Le Mans. Was there a real inspirational person when you think back? Probably a lot, but maybe one you could pick out for us today?
That would be Frank Stella, the artist.
Frank Stella. Really? You surprised me.
We got to know him very well. His two sons are friends of our family. He's a very special guy. And when the art car program was in full swing, I went to Munich and checked some things out, and they asked me to bring the model back to New York. They built a model of the car about 2.5 feet long, and it sat in the seat next to me, and we were both in first class.
Yeah.
When we got there, it was love at first sight, if you want to put it that way, because paints in a way that appeals to me tremendously, and the thought process behind it is just extraordinary. And he's a very nice man, for all the genius stuff, and it is there. But he, above all, he's just a great guy.
If you didn't know who he was, you wouldn't get it from. He doesn't make a big deal of it,
Oh yeah. Frank Stella, to me, having grown up with a father who was an artist, I mean, what a magnificent painter. I love his art. It is the kind of art that we had in our home growing up, a lot of abstract art, a lot of color and so forth. And of course, he did one of the great art cars for BMW as well, right?
Yes, he did the one that I took the model from. And I asked Susan Brundage, who was running the Castelli Gallery at the time, to ask what sort of questions he would like to answer. And it's a little bit like this, your interview. But we went beyond that into a real friendship. And I got to New York and asked to go to the model. And that was my chance to meet him, So,
wow.
As I said before, we hit it off really well. And that art car, the Calder car, became quite the celebrated car, and it's going to be at Bridgehampton in a couple of weeks.
Oh, well, that's exciting. With the artwork that you're doing now, Sam, the painting you're doing, is Stella an inspiration in some ways with the style of art you're painting?
Not with the style, the thinking behind it.
The thinking. Okay. I like that even better. Can you give us a little bit of an example of the thinking behind your artwork?
Yeah, but it's hard. We're talking about something that is purely visual, and yet you have to translate it into something that works for everybody. I think that the Calder car, as it's known, is Calder was brought to the track the morning of the race, and everybody wanted a slick picture of him with the car, me with him with the car, just every combination, and about 50 photographers going nuts. He spotted me, he came over, and I was wearing my suit, and he put his arm around me, and he said, "What the fuck is going on?"
That was Calder there, right?
Yeah.
Well, here I got a Stella quote that I think might be a sort of answer your question. I remember.
Okay.
He said, "What you see is what you get." And it was a cool quote because he's as intellectual as anybody, right? As an artist.
Of course.
But I thought he was saying that the thing has got to appeal to you visually, right? It's you've got to just see it and be excited before you read about the theory behind it, right? It should be like, oh, now that I've read that, now I love it. No, you should like it, and then maybe it deepens your appreciation when you understand maybe something about what he was doing, but you don't have to enjoy it. I think, Dad, that's something you have shot for in your stuff too. You know, it should get there with just by looking at it, right? Yeah.
I believe that very much that when you are doing this kind of thing, you get quite competitive with yourself and with artists. I have a library full of art books, and I have memorized with ease thousands of pictures.
No doubt. I like to ask my guests about a challenge. No doubt racing is challenging, life is challenging, things that you're dealing with today are challenging, but I want to go back to this book. And this is a question for both of you. When you're going back through a history that is immense and spans so much time, if you could pick, and I'll start with you, John, and we'll come back to you, Sam, what was one of the biggest challenges of trying to put all this information together into a cohesive story in this book?
Well, it's funny. The actual telling of the stories was pretty smooth. To me, it seemed like it.
You just got to listen and write.
Around dinner, I just ask him, "Okay, tell me what's going on in this photo." You know, and he'd another great story. And usually, before we get to the end of one, it would sort of trigger another one, and I'd be like, "Wait, you gotta let me finish typing out the first one," you know.
Yeah.
But there'd be like, you know, 3 stories in every one. But I think the bigger challenge came when we tried to find the photos, because we'd start with a photo, but it would lead to a story, and then we'd be missing the photo, and you can't really put it in the book without that, you know.
Right.
Started searching through all these old drawers around the house and our other place in Florida. And he would say, I know there's a shot of this. And, you know, my mom and I would be just like, just pulling out old boxes. But it was what you said before the start of the show, that I feel like if you're sort of a hoarder, like I tend to be, you're always thinking, well, this will be important later. I'll
Yes.
be happy to have this ticket stub from this,
Yeah.
this guy, you know. And then later it's just like a bunch of junk in a drawer, and somebody, maybe you or somebody else, has to trash it, you know. But in this case, it sort of justified all that hoarding, you know. It
Yes.
was like, here we have a complete set of rodent tracks, you know, that his mother saved, like going back to, you know, the start of the magazine, you know. And we flipped through and actually found a report on his win at Lime Rock after flying over from France on the Concorde. I mean, it was like,
Wow.
It made the story, because there we had the picture, we could run the story. And so that was a challenge, but it turned out to be a fun part too. You feel like, you know, you're unearthing, you know, gold here that really is probably just junk. But for us, it was great.
Well, of course. And for you, Sam, reliving this, going back through this with your son and sharing these stories, many of which I would assume he perhaps has not heard. Was there one specific challenge that stood out for you? Was it remembering the things that happened, or was it when to stop talking so he could keep writing?
I'll tell you the Indianapolis 500.
Yep.
Beginning to end. Something that is so difficult for a guy who's coming into it, and dramatic, qualifying is incredible.
No, I think he means like writing the book.
Yeah. In creating the book, yes.
Nothing quite on the level of Indy, but
well, no, I don't think so. Indy, that's a challenge in and of itself.
Well, I think that the most dramatic moments were quite a few, right? Because I couldn't tell how the feeling of the piece was going to be when John had transcribed that thing. And some of them just fell together naturally, and we knew we had photographs for them, but some didn't. And John took it upon himself to dig out these photographs from people. And we had such cooperation from the great John Zimmerman, and Pete Lyons, and just a lot of great people, not to mention Roger Penske, who I drove for. those moments out on the track in a really good car for 500.
I mean, we had unbelievable. Everybody we called trying to track down certain shots just couldn't have been more helpful. I mean, we had people like John Dinkle, who was the editor of Road and Track, and he was like trying to remember. He sent us like links to 10 different issues, and we had guys like referring us to other guys who might have the rights, and then we turned out the photographer had died, and whether could we still use the shot even?
Right.
Do we have permission? Everybody just couldn't have been. We got a critical shot at the beginning of John Fitch standing and talking with it was Pedro Rodriguez, I think, at Lime Rock. This was like in the 60s, late 50s, 60s maybe, and it was from a guy who's still racing now. He's what's the acronym? It's BARC. It's the something Automobile Racing Club. But these guys are just like 4 kids. They started in their 20s or younger, just going around to Lime Rock and other New England tracks and just shooting photos. But I mean, this photo is as good as any you could get. I mean, the composition, the quality, and everything. And they just take the shot for free. We just give us a little credit at the back or something. And
right.
He couldn't even remember which of the 4 of them had taken the shot. But
Sure.
I mean, the archive of stuff these guys had, it just unbelievable. And that really is what made the book.
Well, it's all those lifetime of friends. Sam, you've driven so many incredible cars. I wanted to ask you this question, and this might be a bit of a challenge, but that's what this is all about. If you could pick one vehicle from your incredible history of driving, is there one vehicle that maybe just, let's say for today, stands out for you as being quite special?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. It's the Ferrari 512M, not the M preceded the M, but the M. It just has the balance that I look for in a car. And in a car with a lot of power, maybe not so much on brakes and handling. When you are driving it, your mood changes as split seconds go by. And if you're in a car that has a certain balance to it, the acceleration is sort of balanced, braking and cornering. The success we had with that car was the third at Le Mans. A good
I mean, I can't even imagine. I got goosebumps just hearing you talk about it. That was a NART team car, correct?
Yes, North American Racing Team.
Yeah.
I go for them at 4 Le Mans and 5 Le Mans. It was a wonderful part of my life.
No doubt. I'm going to ask you a question, Sam, that I hope with all the people who've interviewed you, nobody's ever asked you this. It's a bit ethereal, but from an artist standpoint, I think you might like this. If you were manifest as a vehicle, this isn't what you want to be. This is your personality. All of this Sam Scrapbook material all wrapped up into one vehicle that Sam Posey would be. What would you be and why?
Well, I would be that Ferrari 512M. It just has, and it's a beautiful car, by the way, which matters to me. The car I'm driving is beautiful, and the pictures of the car with me at the wheel are things I cherish. Very, very straightforward with that. Here comes a copy of the book.
Oh, great!
Sorry, I just wanted to. You could cut this later, but I wanted to get the name of the guys who gave us the photos. They were so helpful, and I couldn't remember the name of their club, but I can maybe give that answer again.
Oh, you can tell us now. Go ahead.
It's the Binghamton Automobile Racing Club.
Oh, Binghamton. Okay.
I don't know, maybe you know of it, but Dave Nicholas was the guy who gave us all the help there.
Oh, that's tremendous. I just finished asking your dad a question that it kind of trips some people up, and that is if you were manifest as a vehicle. He was spot on. He didn't even have to think about it. Your dad said a Ferrari 512, that wonderful 512 that he raced for the NART team. I love it. And one of the things that you said, Sam, was it was important to you not only that the car handled well, but it looked great too. And no doubt that car was sexy beast.
We have here a model of the car that I mentioned, and the sister car is the one that we raced at Le Mans in 1970.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so you listeners, Yeah, you got to use your imagination here, but this incredible Ferrari model they have, number 12, the Ferrari, oh my gosh, it's absolutely insane. Do you recall who built that model?
Well, it's a company that does it. And,
See, maybe it'll say, it says Masterpiece Collection.
Masterpiece Collection. Okay, great. Well, yeah, there you go. There's a history. Now, John, I got to ask you the same question, dude, but you got to come up with something a little more crazy than a Saab, okay? If you were manifest as a vehicle, this isn't what you want to be. This is your personality wrapped into a vehicle. What would John Posey be, but more importantly, why?
This is a tough one. I saw that it was not what you wanted. It was what others might say of you.
Right.
I think I'm lucky to be that Saab. Yeah, I can't say a Ferrari 512. That's a little bit of a reach there, but I think I would take one of our Subaru wagons that we had for years.
Okay. And why's that?
Well, okay, again, we're going with best side of myself here, but
of course.
It wasn't the sexiest car on the street, but it was great in the snow.
Very useful. Yeah.
Very, very useful car. I think we put about 150,000 miles on both of them. And I always loved those cars. I just couldn't stay to get rid of them. But yeah, I guess we're still talking a little aspirational here. But
yes.
Yeah, I'd take the Subaru, definitely.
Well, I think that makes sense because when you think back to Sam's Scrapbook, this book that you guys did together, you were a great help to your father by getting you guys there. And therefore, you're acting like the Subaru that can get you where you want to go with reliability, sustainability. I see what's going on here. This all works pretty well.
The analogy there. I'm with it.
Okay. My son drives a Subaru. He loves to go camping and hiking, and it's a great car to go out into the outback and enjoy. I think that's absolutely great. You know, Sam, you've written some incredible books. They all sit on my shelves. The Mudpot Express, Where the Rider Meets the Road, Playing with Trains. All of those sit on my library shelf. And of course, this new book titled Sam's Scrapbook, My Motorsports Memories by Sam and John Posey is going to join those in good company. I haven't got my copy yet, but I'm promised I'm going to get one soon. So I'm really looking forward to that. You know, I want to let you go, Sam. This is a question for you. I want to take you on the ultimate drive. Now, that means I have a magic scepter. That means I can do magical things. I can provide you with any vehicle in the world. I can put anybody next to you, living or deceased, and you could be driving anywhere you want to drive. What does that ultimate drive look like for you, Sam?
It's an easy question to answer because I bought a Mercedes 300 SL. I was 14 years old.
No way.
$2,500 was it?
Oh my gosh. Wow.
And I gave it to John a few weeks back. So he owns it now.
Whoa.
And I think he's going to take care of it. We have an idea that that car is so special in automotive history and everything that we should share it with people, not have it in the garage all the time. And because in a way, it's a gift from the gods, if you want to put it that way.
Yes.
We feel that sharing it is an important thing.
We got to meet this guy, Jim Glickenhaus. I don't know if you...
He just was at Le Mans. They came in 4th and 5th for their first time out, a privateer club. Holy cow. He's been a guest on the show. Awesome job.
I thought he might have been. That's why I mentioned him. But we got to interview him for an article a few years back for Road and Track. And we came to his shop in Sleepy Hollow. And the cars he has are just, I mean, every one of them is $1 million car. But
yes.
But he drives them around Sleepy Hollow. I mean, it's like,
yeah,
he's got Lime Rock in one of them. And it was like, and that was sort of his spirit. It's like these cars that's what they're meant to do. They're not meant to sit in my shop like a museum, piece. And I don't know, that's sort of, I think that made us think, yeah, I got to get the SL out. I mean, you could think like, do I really want to take it out today? I mean, the consequences of some screw up are just terrible. It's like I could save that just by leaving it in the garage, but if you do that forever, then it's just like that's sad too, so.
Well, I'll tell you, John, your dad, Sam, has the right idea. You got to get out and enjoy that vehicle, because I've had a lot of great cars, and when I sell them, I always think, why did I save that for that guy? Why didn't I enjoy it more and take friends for drives? So I think maybe you need to take you need to take your dad for a drive in that SL and get it out there and exercise it.
Yeah.
Another thing along those lines is Mazda. There's a bunch of people that run these things. They're very inexpensive. What do you pay? Pay $8,500 or something for one.
Miata. Yeah.
The Miata. Yeah. Oh, great car. Great fun.
Have you ever had one? Or?
I've driven a couple. When they first came out, a guy I worked with had one and let me drive it. I thought it was one of the funnest little inexpensive cars I ever drove.
It's unbelievable. You could see why they just sold out the first run. But it sort of looks like a nothing car. But I mean, that thing around Lime Rock, it'll lap at the same time just about as his Corvette. He's got a 2003 Corvette, which is an awesome car. I think a really good driver could do better in the Vet. It's like there's more
horsepower, there,
but it's harder to control it. The Mazda is just like the handling is just incredible.
They are incredible, great track cars, great starter cars for people that want to go SCCA racing or whatever. I think they're absolutely brilliant little rides. You picked a wonderful car there, Sam, because the 300 SL is probably the most accredited car for guests I've had here who want to go on tours and rallies of old vintage cars, because they're rock solid, they're powerful, they're enjoyable, they don't drive like a car from the late 50s, early 60s. So you've got quite a treasure there. But John, get out and drive it more. Make your dad smile. most definitely. You guys, I would love to talk to you more, but what I want to ask you, and I'll start with you, Sam, if you could leave our listeners today with one parting piece of wisdom or guidance or a mantra or a success quote from the incredible history of life that you have lived, what would that be?
Luck.
Luck. Just that word?
Yeah. I've had so many things that could only be put down to luck.
Wow.
And look, this book that John and I have been working at, I can see threads running through it where luck not necessarily recognized at the time, but later on, then you realize that I had a terrific crash at Lime Rock, and the car went through the trees and wound up upside down, and me trapped in it. This was an era where you had 60 gallons of fuel before. An era that was fuel pumps ticking. And I was trapped in the car. I couldn't, my feet were trapped around the pedals. And into the slide, and I emerged unhurt. The number of things that had to go my way were one after another things that happened. And hitting the berm outside the thing, having the car deflect up in just a certain angle. And when it came down upside down on my head, I was able, nonetheless, to squirm my way out of it, and that was a piece of luck. And I've had races which have fallen to me by almost accident of fate. I just feel that anybody who doesn't understand the functioning of luck in racing isn't a realistic person.
Wow. Very, very nicely said. And of course, John, along with luck, look who you got to be born to. So there you go. What a life you've lived as well. Is there a website, Sam, that you guys have where people can go and see more of what you're doing, or maybe see your artwork?
Yeah, you can see the artwork.
He's got a show coming up if anybody's in Kent, Connecticut.
What? No way.
Yeah.
When is this? Where?
It's at the Ober Gallery, Kent, Connecticut. What's the date of the show?
The last day of October.
Last day of October.
Okay. All right.
I'll invite everybody.
That would be fantastic. And do you have a website where people can go and get their hands on the book and follow what you've done?
Yeah. All you do is just Google and Sam Posey art comes up.
Sam Posey art.
One question I get asked is, how fast do you drive? And the answer is astonishing. 248 miles an hour.
Oh my gosh. Oh, and that was at Le Mans, I'm assuming?
Yeah, the Ferrari.
Wow. That we always go back to the Ferrari. That is mind-boggling. I can't even imagine. Wow.
It turns out that once you're past 180, it's all the same. It's just a big blur out there. So, and you're fighting the crosswinds.
Yes.
So you're very busy, even though it's a straightaway, because the car gets a little light at those speeds. And this was set with a car that was not a ground effect car. Right at the end of my career, I had my first chance to drive a ground effect car. And let me tell you, it's a different world out there.
No kidding. I can't imagine a non-ground effects car going 248 miles an hour. Holy cow, Sam. That's I can't even imagine that. Can't even imagine.
Pedro Rodriguez passed me.
And he passed you.
In a long tail Porsche. He got 253.
Oh.
And I drafted him for quite a while. I don't think my car was capable of much more than 230 without a draft.
Wow.
But it doesn't matter how it happened. It happened.
It happened. Absolutely incredible. So, John, what is that website that we can let our listeners know?
Thanks. It's okay. For the art, it would be obergallery.com.
Is that OBER?
Yes, that's it. Yeah.
Okay. .com.
For the book, just go on Amazon and Sam Posey Scrapbook. That's it.
You know what, you guys, this has been a real treat. You know, listeners, you can find everything we've shared today here on Sam and John's show notes page on the Cars Yeah website. I want to do a big shout out to our mutual friend, Judy Stropus. I tell you something, you guys, Judy loves you guys with all her heart. And she was so kind to set this up for us today. So Judy, she brings me some wonderful guests. You've got a wonderful friend, Sam and John, and Judy Stropus there, but I think you know that.
She did about put the book together. She got us the publishers. She got us you. She's pretty much the glue, but
yeah,
the whole project together. So thanks to her.
No Judy Stropus, no project. I think it's a recommendation because we hit it off right away with this idea of how the captions would work. Extended caption, really, an essay in its own right, most of them. And you look first at one side of the page, and you see a car there, and you look at the other side, and you see the text, John's text. And Judy was so enthusiastic about the concept, and she's worked with so many people from Penske on down.
She knows everybody. She's incredible. You guys, again, this has been a great honor to spend some time with you today, and I can't thank you enough for being my guest. I'm so excited about this new book. Again, listeners, get your hands on a copy of Sam's new book. It's absolutely brilliant. It'll take you through some incredible life that Sam has provided, really shared with all of us. And I want to thank you for that, Sam. Until you and I talk again, my friends, I want to thank you for your time, your expertise, and mostly, Sam, for your inspiration throughout all these years to all of us motorsports fans. Until you guys and I talk again, I hope to see you both down the road.
That's wonderful of you to say.
Thank you so much for having us on. This is it's an honor to be the which guest
1,894th, and we'll call it 95th too, because there are two of you here today, right?
That's great.
Absolutely. Sam, thank you so much. This has been tremendous.
Thank you for having me.
Here at Cars Yeah, it's all about inspiration. And our charity of choice is TechForce Foundation, where it's all about making a positive difference in young people's lives. TechForce helps young adults discover their talents and passions for all things automotive, with a mission of helping students develop a career as a professional technician. TechForce awards nearly $2 million in scholarships every year for students to pursue technical education, and they support hands-on activities, events, and mentorships across the country, working to change the outdated perceptions of these careers. Auto techs are in high demand, but the supply of qualified technicians is critically short. They need your help to fuel their mission. Learn more and join me in supporting them at techforce.org. I've discovered Linkage. It's a new quarterly publication and website that covers the automotive market, driving, restoring, collecting, and discovering your passion for motor vehicles. Linkage is about experiences, opinions, and values. Linkage is an actual informed, reasoned opinion based on first-hand experiences. A talented linkage team covers the automotive world, the people who share your passion and mine, smart, considered, rational, and experienced opinions, ones you can learn from and grow. That includes our passion that drives auctions and the collector car market. So come with me and join us on this journey. And be sure to use the code CARSYEAH when you subscribe, and they'll give you $10 off. Boom! Linkage, geared for the automotive life. Subscribe today at linkagemag.com. What began as a charitable car show has grown into the world's greatest collector car auctions, raising over $133 million for charitable organizations to date. For nearly 50 years, automotive enthusiasts from all over the world have enjoyed the Barrett-Jackson collector car auctions, and I'm a huge fan. Regarded as the barometer of the collector car industry, their auctions are world-class lifestyle events where thousands of the world's most sought-after, unique, and valuable automobiles cross the block in front of a global audience, in person, on TV, or streamed online. Barrett-Jackson produces the world's greatest collector car auctions in Scottsdale, Arizona, Palm Beach, Florida, Las Vegas, Nevada, and new for 2021, Houston, Texas. The excitement of Barrett-Jackson auctions is contagious, and a unique experience is not to be missed.
Thank you so much for joining us on today's ride here at Cars Yeah. Drive on over to carsyeah.com to find show notes and inspiring automotive fun. Download your free copy of Filler Up, a fun book filled with gorgeous photographs of fuel filler fun, including quotes from more inspiring automotive enthusiasts. Download your copy today, and we'll see you next time on Cars Yeah.